Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the IESF Europe Regional Qualifiers with me, Arashi, and Burger Kim. Where earlier we just saw Ukraine get the better of France in an aggressive nature with still calculated approach. Now we're finally at the final game of the day. It's gonna be Georgia up against Turkey. It's gonna be quite exciting here because once again it's a matchup between a team with a reputation, a team that has experience against the newcomer, right? Against the dark horse, technically, who has shown a lot of promise. I mean, I thought Georgia was going to be somewhat basic, but they've shown quite good flexibility in their drafts. They've shown adaptability from game to game. So I do think that this is going to be an exciting match, man. Turkey has to take this one seriously.
I think a lot of people too are really anticipating the Turkey match, right? Like whoever they go up against, knowing that they've been in the MLBB scene for quite some time, right? Like even back in M3, they were there, and they have like
Mhm.
multiple big tournaments in their country. So I think with that being said, that has garnered them some fan base, and it's really tough to be able to pull off really good matches as well, especially in the world stage, right? And that's Turkey for you.
Mhm.
They were able to pull off upsets, surprises in the world stage, so I wouldn't be surprised if they might actually just take everything in. But the same case, like if you think about it, it's going to be the same case here with Georgia. Like with everything that they've showcased for the past few days, I think we just can't count them out yet.
Oh, definitely not. I do feel like if Turkey again just underestimates Georgia, this could end, very unexpectedly for them. So despite having all of this experience, we have to make sure that they do, again, take them at full face value. Right now, let's take a look at the roster though for Georgia, who will be going up
Mhm.
against Turkey. As we saw yesterday, it's Asmodeus, Night
Mhm.
Level, Hawk, Pinkman, and Hennies.
Hmm. Yeah, Asmodeus and the rest of the team, right? This was I would say a team that really surprised us. Even from the draft down to the execution, they were able to execute it perfectly. I think they really have a good idea, a good grasp of like what the game is like and how to actually put it into play here. Especially this is going to be possibly a ticket to Riyadh or WEC here this year. So for Georgia and Turkey, again, it's going to be high stakes. For Georgia, they've never been to that stage, so of course they definitely want to be there. And as for Turkey, right, they want to just get their foothold once again onto the world stage, but they have to go through Georgia first. And you guys have seen them, right? Like, do let us know in the comment section, by the way, who you guys are rooting for. It's going to be the last match, last BO3 that we're going to be having for today. Comment it down below. Speaking of, it is going to be our fan favorites, Turkey. Let's take a look at their lineup here up against Georgia. They are going to be fielding Apex 47, Sunshine, Tianzi, Alien, and of course, Rosa.
No stranger to the scene. Big names here with big plays every single time we see them in the Land of Dawn. That is definitely why the fans are just drawn to this team, man. They just always have that X factor. You kind of count them out. You think that they're gonna play mediocre. Before you know it, they supersede your expectations time and time again. And today, it's a bit different though. They are the ones who are actually expected to do well. So somewhat unfamiliar, but that's why it's so exciting right now. Because for Georgia, again, less experience, but it also means that they have less, you know, overthinking to do, right? Even though
Mhm.
they are technically the lesser experienced one, they can just focus on their game. And if Turkey will oblige them fighting aggression with aggression, they gotta be careful because for Georgia, they've shown again that they can really pull off some really unique drafts with some really unique mindsets behind the whole thing. Like how these weird picks that they usually select for themselves kind of synergize with each other. I think has been very creative, more so than Turkey. Although the aggression, I think Turkey has in the bag.
Mm-hmm. I think the experience is a big factor here, and Georgia wants to have a piece of that, right? Like coming into this,
Mhm.
they've already reached this far into the semis, right? You're down to the last four teams. It is going to be the winners or the victors rather for today that will be heading to WEC 24 in Riyadh. And I think there's a lot on the plate here for Turkey. If they lose out this one, it is definitely going to be a huge upset, right? But as for Georgia, that is their stepping stone to the MLBB world, to more MLBB and to more experiences, and more so, I think. Georgia definitely, proved us all the doubters wrong in the last the last time that they played up against Austria, right? So they were able to pull off again a sweep. So far we haven't seen any BO3 Sarashi that have reached to at least extended it to
Mm-hmm.
game number three. So it's all clean sweeps so far, right? So far. That's why I'm adding that because we still don't know. We still have this last match for today. I'm kind of feeling it. I'm kind of feeling that game number three might actually be very much alive because we were getting close to it. In the previous match, it was actually a pretty close matchup, right? Like it extended all the way past 15 minutes. So I wouldn't be surprised if this one will be the same case.
I mean, it won't be right for just games in the semifinals, the games to secure the tickets to the next stage. It wouldn't be right if it's, another sweep, but if it's like not close at all. This is what we're expecting here from the semifinals, right? Exciting games, closer matches, a bit of a back and forth. I do feel that I agree with you, Kim. If there was going to be a game that will reach a best of three, I feel like this one might be it. Uh, Thinking about France yesterday, I really thought that that could also go for a full best of three series. But if this match goes that far, I won't really be too surprised. I think everyone is thinking it is quite that close. But who knows, man? If Turkey wants to make this big statement that there's levels to this, you can just hop into the international stage without experience and hope to best the seniors, right? Who's been here for a longer period of time. I feel like they can make a statement right here and show to everyone why there are levels in Mobile Legends.
Yeah, I'm looking at Georgia's stats here too, like the matches that they've had before they've got into this European regional qualifiers is that they've had clean sweeps even in their own country's qualifiers. So that is something huge, right? To put in the bag next to Turkey, who has a multitude of experiences when it comes to the realm of MLBB. And I think a lot of people are just a little bit more familiar with the Turkish team, right? Like you guys have come to love and know them back in M3 all the way up until the recent days of MLBB. They've been still pretty much relevant, and I think coming into this matchup, like both of these teams, it's a matter of for Georgia, it is going to be a new start, especially for their side. And as for Turkey, it is to kind of continue on that that place that they have, especially in the world stage.
Yeah, maintaining their notoriety, I think would be their goal right here, because everyone knows that they have a reputation and they have delivered before, but they have to keep the momentum going, right? They have to make sure that they fulfill the expectations of their supporters, of the world even, to prove to everyone that they deserve to be to come back to the international stage again and again, right? If they really do have a setback right here, that definitely is something that would be less desirable for them, and that definitely has impact in their mental state as well, right? Going up against a newer team, and yet technically for Georgia, they don't have anything to lose, right? If they lose here, they're losing against a team that has a reputation, that has been performing amazing in the past few international tournaments. If they win, then they have beat the odds and they're surprised everyone, and it's even better. So it's a win-win for Georgia, which makes this a bit more intense for Turkey to be sure, which is why I feel like from game number one, it is on site, man. It's full blast coming in from Turkey.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a BO3, right? There's just only so much that you can do with this kind of lineup because after that BO3, it seems like whoever takes the first game, right, that is going to just snowball all the way up until game number two, and eventually they take in the entire series. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. So I think this game number one, I think apart from all of the games that they will have in this matchup, will be very, very important, especially in the drafting too, right? Like whoever gets the upper hand, the edge, I think this is a time to kind of ban away some of those comfort picks too.
Ban some comfort picks and ensure that the laning phase goes their way. Because I feel like for a lot of these teams, it's always a kind of static laning phase, and then it's like, oh, big fights. But for Turkey and Georgia, I feel like something huge that they have in common here is that aggression all the way from the laning phase. We see a lot of 1v1 duels, solo kills even. So I feel like aside from having comfort picks, they also need to make sure that the overall team fight composition benefits them in the mid to late game, but the laning phase also needs to be taken into consideration, especially if they want to make sure that their respective opponents here doesn't really get to get that pressure advantage. Because when the teams are more experienced, when they have more understanding of how the game works, a winning lane is such a valuable asset, right? It gives you pressure, it draws in your opponents, forcing them to react to you, and you can kind of have a roam advantage as well. If you're winning in your lane, you can go to the mid lane, you can go into the jungle, and at the top tier of Mobile Legends, every single role is interconnected. So I feel like laning phase being so important for these teams leads to it also being important for that mid to late game in deciding who gets to control the game and who gets to dictate the tempo of how and when these fights happen.
I think it's important to note that all of these teams have to factor in as well. Like if you get handicap in a certain lane, that is going to really mess up the rotations that you will have, right? Let's say there's an XP lane diff, or let's say the draft really favored the opposing team's XP laner or the gold lane, or vice versa. It doesn't matter, right? Like as long as I feel like as long as you can get like a good XP lane when it comes to like team fights right now, that's why you see a lot of the teams prioritizing like XP laners a little bit more, right? Because everybody wants to siege in that first turtle. And I think having a good XP laner, reaching that level 4, is going to be crucial, especially when securing in the turtle. And for Georgia and Turkey, it's going to be Georgia on the blue side right now in the drafting phase. And immediately they're going to be taking out the Ling. And as for Turkey, they're going to start it off by taking out the Harriet.
So the Harith being banned away, we haven't really seen that too often. We've seen the Harith actually let go very, very often so far in the Europe regional qualifiers. So I do feel like this is a bit of a respect maybe towards Georgia, or it's just again a matchup thing, right? Harith is a notorious lane bully, not as strong as it used to be during Harris quote unquote prime, but it's still definitely respectable. And at the very least, that pick really guarantees that you won't really lose in a matchup. You can at least go even. And on that note of power picks, the Roger again can be put in the gold lane still if we're talking about lane dominance. And that flex potential is always great, especially because we already highlighted that both Georgia and Turkey have a great understanding on the drafting phase, man. They know how to bait out picks, they know how to play the mind games and use flex picks to really get the best out of the whole drafting phase.
They took out the Valentina here as well for Georgia. It's something that the teams are so bold here in the European regional qualifiers to do so. I think back when she was first released in 2021, that's November 2021, I still remember because she's always, almost all the time, either in the ban list or the pick list when it comes to professional play. But I think this is probably the region that has really prioritized the Valentina. Like it doesn't matter what the opponent will pick. They're gonna first pick the Valentina. It does not matter. And I think it just goes to show how bold they are when it comes to the drafting phase, right? Like picking up a Valentina first pick is not something that you'd see so often. So, for all of the teams, that's something to note. And Georgia as well, locking or banning out the Roger here. For Turkey, usually I see a huge threat in like the Terizla and the Yuzong when it comes to the XP lane. So I think Turkey's just gonna let that slide, right? Like either or, they're gonna get one without the Roger being available right now. Georgia's gonna start it up, of course, with the Zushin here right now, which leaves Turkey to actually lock in the Terizla. Other things are open as well. The chip. Before I could actually even say it, they actually lock it in. The Terizla and the chip here for their side. A good combination that you can pair with the shortcut. You've seen it in yesterday's games, Arashi. It was absolutely deadly. Now Georgia has to answer out to this.
Well, the immediate response is the Minotaur and the Yuzong. So getting a strong laner to go up against the Terizla, getting the Minotaur to counter-engage perhaps sneakily when Turkey maybe goes for a shortcut play. And the Sushin here is what I think is very interesting. I believe Georgia were also the ones who actually used it the last time we saw it in the European qualifiers. And they're showing to really know how to get the best out of it, right? The wave pressure and the team fight pressure as well. I think she's actually a very underrated team fighter because of the amount of utility you bring out and the constant damage. against a single person, it's not really
Oh,
as amazing. But when all five members of your opponents are getting hit by the lantern, I feel like that adds up to a lot of damage. And being able to lift and throw people around definitely is a huge plus. But against the Fanny here, there is going to be
I was
defensive
gonna
tools
say.
available for the Sushin with the ultimate. But Fanny, man, we haven't seen an assassin quite like the Fanny in the past couple of games. I think Turkey again is just trying to send a message that they are going full force all the way from the beginning.
Yeah, I was like shocked when that was picked up, right? Like usually this would come out either in the last phase if you're not that bold, and with the decent amount of crowd control that Georgia has, I would say that again it's a snowball type of lineup here with the Fanny. It really benefits from the Sky Piercer. You guys know that very well. Every single assassin is doing really well right now because of that item, that Sky
Mm-hmm.
Piercer that is honestly really hard when it comes to the team fights. You can instantly execute a teammate, but Turkey as well, leaving no stones unturned. They're taking away Asmodeus's Martis. It seems like Georgia is a little bit more of the utility. I'm not so sure if they're comfortable with the assassins or maybe perhaps like fighters, right? Like Alpha and the Leomord, which we've seen in the previous days. So that leaves the last option for Turkey to either ban out the gold or a jungler here because both haven't revealed their gold laners right now. The Claude is still open though.
It is still open, and Turkey will have the first pick once both teams have banned one more hero. So the fact that Georgia is banning away a bunch of gold laners here, I mean, it's only two, but it's still quite significant. This means that they're also narrowing their own gold lane pool, unless, of course, they have this plan of bringing a mage into the equation. All right, if they go for, let's say, like a Lunox gold lane, you have the benefit of having a good damage, strong laning, but also the fact that you can kind of be a lot safer from dive potential, dive threats coming in from the chip and the Fanny that will most definitely eventually make their way towards the gold lane. So, knowing that Georgia is quite creative with how they like the draft, I feel like that's not off the table just yet.
I was thinking of like Lunox too. A great way to kind of evade all of these potential ganks coming out from Turkey. Not unless Rose is going to pick that up for herself. Like it's a tank killer, but instead they choose to go for the Nathan. Again, a great amount of burst. The nerfs can be felt, but you've seen it in the game earlier with Ukraine. They were able
Mm-hmm.
to make it work with the Ling and the Nathan, right? Like the Fanny can just split push, and what more ways to split push than actually having the portal here? So there's just so many possibilities here for the lineup of Turkey. They got all access. Like if you got if you're talking about like all access VIP pass when it comes to like concerts that you guys want to watch, then this is it. Turkey has gotten all of that all access here right now, and they got all of these VIPs gonna come in and play. But Georgia, they still need to answer out with a gold laner that can go head to head with the Nathan. I'm thinking something along the likes of Claude
Ooh.
that really has a tool or a way out. And yeah, they do go for it. I was thinking of like a Lunox, but they might be compromising on like the magic. They might be too much magic damage. So they go for burst here. I was thinking of something like a saber because usually that's what you would answer to a Fanny, right? Like he instantly executed. But instead they go for the D-Rot. I believe this is gonna be the jungler and the Claude in the gold lane. Finally, Turkey needs to seal the deal here with Rosa. What is she going to pick up this time without the Valentina and Lilia being banned away here by Georgia?
Adding utility would be great. A savior comes through. I mean, utility is there, and the global presence still to really maybe secure kills that the Fanny fails to secure in the midst of a big flash skirmish. Right for Georgia, it really seemed like they were going for a bit of front to back, and then they transitioned it a bit into more of a dive composition. Mind you, the Suchin can still go in with the Crimson Beacon, and technically that's a double channeling AoE coming in from the Claude and the Tsushin, and both coming with different types of damage. So in a 5v5, that could definitely be a problem. But that's the issue right here, right? With the lineup from Turkey, they don't really have to go for a 5v5. They can do
Yeah.
exactly what Turkey was doing, like you mentioned, Kim, and they still have the chip on top of that, right? I mean, earlier we saw that when Ukraine was doing it, they didn't even have like another global a global ultimate to really make plays with. So I feel like it all begins with the first turtle. I feel like if Georgia can try to get some momentum at the first turtle, get a couple of kills, get some pressure, and then invade straight into the jungle, I feel like they have a solid chance of snowballing, of getting into position to force Turkey into those 5v5 fights. But if they really start falling behind, then I think Turkey, knowing their experience, it might just be a matter of time before they just pull apart this composition and force them to play solo without relying on each other.
I think for the side of Georgia here, it's the key is to have like all these early game heroes, and you've seen it with the Yuzong, the D-Rot, the Minotaur. These are heroes that can invade early. And looking
Mhm.
at Turkey here, they got the chip as well for their side, so I think they can pretty much do their very best to protect the Fanny. But like what you mentioned, they can really evade all of these team fights, right? Like just leave everybody to just take in the macro gameplay, not go for the team fights that Georgia wants. And they can absolutely do that. I told you, they got an all access VIP pass to the Land of Dawn, and they can absolutely do anything with this lineup. Like this, the Fanny can split push. Nathan can do exactly the same thing, and they just dip in the portal, shortcut, go in somewhere else in the map. And that's really the beauty of having a chip that we've seen sometimes in the ban list and sometimes in the pick list as well.
I do wonder how this is gonna play out because the direct pick in particular kind of interests me. Because initially I thought it's maybe okay if they're going front to back, right? They want to make sure that their frontliners will live longer than the opposing team's frontliners, and the direct could be a great tool to combo up with the Claude to try and do that. But I guess in some way or form, it also is a great solution if they're concerned about the steals, right? If Turkey are trying to go for a 50-50, yes, the Fanny has a cutthroat, but overall, the Abyssum Strike is a very reliable tool that does extra damage based on missing HP. So it can be used to force a 50-50. So if that's really the case, this means that Georgia is kind of really geared in to hunker down for an objective fight, whether that's the buff, whether that's a turtle or lord. They have ways to secure it in a 50-50, and they have ways to really get the best out of like a multi-person 5v5 fight. So that kind of leads the question to how Turkey is going to play, and if it's going to be just a pure Fanny split push and Chip walking with the team, or is it the adjustment or the new style we saw from Chip, where the Chip actually is the one going far away to the far side because he can bring the whole team to the far side of the map and back to the Lord as well.
I thought you were gonna say dark side. Come to the dark
To the
side.
dark side.
Nah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's not. That's not there yet, but definitely it is going to be a whole lot darker if you bring in all of those, all your entire cavalry rather, into the portal. And I think the only way to counter this out is if Georgia is prepared to take in the portal. But that's the problem. There's just way too much portals in the map. How can you actually do that? Not unless, again, there has to be some disruption that has to be made, especially in the early game. Apex 47, wow, getting
Oh,
tugged in and out here by Geo. Gets the first blood here for the side of Georgia. Interesting too here, Arashi. Tienzi actually started it off with the red buff instead of the purple buff.
it's about making sure that that the Fanny is in the right place at the right time later on when they're trying to contest for more objectives. Might be the idea behind that difference in rotation, or trying to preserve the purple buff for more important times in the game. At 1 minute, you don't really need a lot of energy. A lot of that purple buff really isn't put to good use. So Tenzi can afford to do so because the team is very strong and they're kind of denying a lot of the invades coming in. But look at the EXP lane though.
Yep, Apex 47 is here to save the day, but he's taking a lot of bursts. But here comes Tienzi to save the day. Asmodeus is so low. Gets taken down here, and now Geo as well, able to sustain, able to flicker out of that one to safety, but not unless Apex 47 will get the revenge here. Here comes Tienzi as well. Does he have the cutthroat? One more hit, and he takes Geo out. That's going to be Turkey picking up 3 kills, and this is looking really scary, Arashi. 2-0-1 on the Fanny.
It's a bit too over ambitious from Georgia. They have damage, but they have continuous damage. If they're going for a short burst of aggression just like that, then Turkey will most definitely have the advantage, right? They can just send out a couple of spells. They have the assassin, the Fanny, and they do have a chip, but look at the top side though.
Okay, that was too close for comfort. Tennis was almost taken down there Tianzi just had one more. I'm not so sure if he was able to build up the Sky Piercer, but right now, over on the mid side, once again, that's really getting annoying.
Oh,
Rosa's able to survive with the Slither of Hell. Just reached level 4, but here comes Tianzi. A little bit aggressive here, but he's not going to go for more as he heads straight to the turtle here for the side of Turkey. But hold that thought. You got to get that purple buff first.
yeah, and man, that was unfortunate for the side of Georgia. They were kind of ready to get that kill, but Asmodeus didn't land the Abyssum Strike. Uses it. It got kind of juked technically because they were so close to each other. And now without a man advantage, it's gonna be again the team fight advantage from Georgia. But for now, right, especially in the first few early levels, a lot more burst damage potential coming in from Turkey, unless they do find a way to stop TNZ from flying around, right? I think the Vita is the person that they're looking for, that they're looking to try and stop this Fanny from just sliding all over the place out of control. Apex though.
Yep, he manages to find his way in through that portal. And now it's going to go haywire here as Asmodeus going to be able to get the cutthroat down onto Asmodeus. He gets the killing spree, but right now he's in trouble.
Oh.
There's a shutdown from Geo. Look at the continuous damage. Apex 47 might be next here as Night Level going to pick up that double onto Apex 47. And now this equalizes the game. I think we have Georgia giving Turkey definitely a run for their money. They just know how to counter out all of these aggressive engages by Turkey. And they pull it through. And honestly, what's really difficult is Geo. He's been tugging everyone in and out. And not to mention, he's actually kind of squishy here. And he's relentless at kind of tugging everybody in.
I do wonder what kind of build Geo is going to go for, because the Suchin, very surprisingly, has a couple of different build paths technically. Look at the top side though. Immediately Turkey try and equalize, getting all the turret gold on the top side there in exchange for the turtle. Look at the bottom side though, kill attempt, and that will be secured, man. That is Night Level just taking a lot of aggression again and again. That's the cost of having an aggressive XP leader that wants to push again and again.
Curious, Arashi, are you that kind of guy who loves surprises?
Ooh, talking
Yeah,
about
that was it.
surprises. I do like surprises, but Sunshine definitely wasn't ready for that one. Both teams
Yep.
might trade targets right here, but Apex comes through with the portal. Asmodeus might
Yep.
go on him though.
Oh man, that was the surprise. I was asking if you liked surprises because Turkey has only gotten in like one full surprise here up against Georgia. That was down bottom. And they have to keep doing this, right? And it seems like Georgia is so prepared to take in all of these surprise teleportations that the chip has been making here. And so far, they have been giving Turkey a run for their money as Tianzi gonna go right in, try to stop the damage there, but that's gonna be Georgia actually picking up the turret there on the top side. That's gonna be the first turret down here for this game.
Georgia's doing a great job just using the pressure, but look at Geo. Oof.
Yep, forced to pop in the ultimate as the Blazing Duet is up as well. Henny's Alien gonna soak up the damage. Dawning Light is not enough to take Geo down as Asmodeus. He's gonna try to get more, but gonna get punished there as well. And now Henny's, he is in trouble. Gets the
Oh.
Purify. Actually, does not have the Purify, but the Cutthroat comes through as Tianzi picks up another killing spree.
It's all about just estimating the damage, man. If Georgia can survive from the initial burst of damage, then in the long run, with all the AoE they have, they can get a victory. And they still do have a very solid pick-off chance using Asmodeus on this Dairoth. But Turkey, I think, will have the edge on this turtle, takes it without problem, and gets the top turret as well. So equalizing already.
Wow.
Look at Geo go, deleted!
Deleted instantly in the map, just as we were looking at TNZ securing in that turtle. I believe the Sky Piercer has been secured at this point, and this is
Mhm.
just getting really difficult here for Georgia. Right there's so far it's not even Apex 47 or Alien that's the problem here. It's TNZ. Like they try to have these team fights, but even if they take down Apex 47, there's just TNZ to do the cleanup work. Pretty much like what we had in the game between France and the side of earlier. But now we see a team fight happening here. That's going to be TNZ getting in the Cutthroat. And there's going to be two left. Asmodeus, next one to fall. And now going for the triple here. That's going to be a triple picked up by TNZ. 14 kills to boot here for Turkey. And it is only one remain standing there. That's going to be Night Level.
It's unfortunate, man. They tried to go for the outplay. They tried to bait Turkey in and then go for a combo, but there's just not enough damage. And Henny's in the beginning went to try and clear the wave, but TNZ just demolishes him out once again, just coming in 11-1 and 3. TNZ, man, what an absolute monster, taking away the purple buff as well. Now Turkey is really snowballing out of control. Previously, if they can stop the Fanny, most of the kills are only on him, but now look at everyone else still doing a respectable amount of damage.
Yep, that's going to be Apex 47 diving right in. But right now, you see the turrets being taken down one by one. It's going to be Tenzi just executing everybody. But the Blazing Duet, it's a little bit too much. Tenzi going to be able to back away as Rosa as well picks up that killing spree, gets caught up in the Mystic Field, and gets comboed there. 19 kills for Turkey, but right now might get punished though. Flicker out from Rosa, but there's going to be the passive coming through here. Rosa forced to use that Dawning Light as Night Level picks up the shutdown.
He just styles on Night Level there, ulting backwards. Because at that point, he knows it's done.
He knows.
Right? That's the Yuzong for you. That's why the mid laners are having such a tough time whenever the Yuzong is in the picture. For Georgia, it's a 4K gold lead, but again, for Turkey, they gotta keep in mind, most of the kills are on one person, right? You take Tenzi out of the equation, not everyone is actually that far ahead. And when there are moments like this where somehow, some way, Georgia is still finding pickoffs, finding kills around the map, it's hard for Turkey to say that they have full control over this game.
Yeah, and what's really difficult too about the team fights is that you see the instant burst, right? Coming out from Asmodeus or Geo at times, right? Or even Night Level that dives right in. So that's really the key here for Georgia. But we can't really count out the fact that, apart from TNZ, we have to take a look at Rosa here, who has only been taken down once here of Night Level. And that's going to pose a problem too in the team fights, right? You got the global presence of the Dawning Light. You can execute anyone as well, anywhere in the map. Here's the first Lord of the game. I think for the side of Turkey, they're forcing out these team fights as TNZ. In a blink of an eye, you just take down Night Level. It wasn't even enough time to get the Petrify up. I'm actually really curious what the items are right now. It might be definitely a Sky Piercer, perhaps a BOD and a Malefic Roar, because that is just way too much damage. Oh wow! Just speaking of the Malefic Roar, there it goes. He just secured it right now as TNZ getting a spot here on the Lord. The Vita gonna try to make that setup happen, but it is not gonna happen. He does have the Minoan's Fury available. Apex 47 gets tugged in to Vita as well, soaking up the damage, but it is not enough. It is gonna be Sunshine picking up the kill. They got the Lord to boot here for the side of Turkey. They can at least take down the second tier towers, but right now Rosa and the rest of the gang, they're in trouble. There's Night Level. He's going in for the punish. He goes in for the Petrify, but right now it is going to be Apex 47 that retaliates with the clapback.
There's a lot of damage still available, but for Turkey, man, TNZ, the Dragon Slayer, deletes Night Level to start everything off. And keep in mind, the Lord isn't even in the picture just yet. They're just brute forcing this with the amount of damage they have. And at this point, Sunshine even is just walking up. He knows that even if he gets taken out, the team has enough damage to really punish the side of Georgia afterwards. Now with their backs against the base though, this is where they can really have a safer time. If they want to go for a team fight, they can just plan ahead on how they want to punish Tenzi if he goes in a bit too overzealously. So you can see that Turkey recognizes the danger, plays it a bit safer as Hennies picks up his golden staff finally at 11 minutes. Definitely a bit late, but better late than never. You talk about the items for Tenzi. I believe he had a Hypnosis earlier. We saw the Malefic. I'm thinking if the BOD is already in the picture just yet.
For sure. I mean, that amount of damage, that's like 2 hits on Night Level. I mean, I'm pretty sure he has the defensive items here as well. And to be taken out like that by the Fanny, right? It's just absolutely insane. Even with Tienzi coming in, right? It's just Georgia backing away. And looking at the items here right now, we got, it's a BOD. It's not even a Sky Piercer here at this point. A Heptasis, a BOD, and a Malefic Roar. I think that is enough damage to force out Night Level and even Geo here to pick up the Brute Force breastplate here to just to counter out the physical damage coming out from TNZ.
Here's the physical defense boots as well, and this is what I was talking about. There's a lot more flexibility when it comes to itemization for the Tsushin, because it's not about big chunks of damage. It's about over time, right? As long as you're allowed to just spam your spells out again and again, you can still have a great impact in the middle of a big team fight. Later on, though, as far as the backliners, oh, never mind, cut that thought, man. TNZ.
Yep, TNZ. He's gonna try to go for it. Another attempt, but right now everybody's at full HP, right? Speaking of the attempts, he actually gets himself the immortality as well, so expect those dangerous, risque dives coming out from TNZ. Right now, it's Turkey on the driver's seat once again. 7 seconds before the Lord is up, but everybody's still up here for Georgia. I'm just wondering how they're going to find their spot here on the Lord, knowing that there's a lot of openings here for Turkey. This might actually just be a bait, Lord, for the side of Turkey.
It could be baiting for a big fight. And for both teams, the longer this goes, I feel like Georgia has a bit of an advantage purely because their gold laner is more mobile and has the Purify as well. If you look at Sunshine, it's a Flicker Natan against a Yuzong. So if it really comes down to the damage output of the gold laners, Georgia has an advantage here, and Turkey are the ones who need to make sure that their gold lane has the protection. But look at that, it doesn't even matter.
Wow, it's like TNC just walked in. Hey, excuse me, I'm walking through, and oh wow, it's Henny's right there. I didn't see that. What amount of damage was that? I think even Henny's was surprised. He wasn't even able to pop up that Purify, and now Night Level. He does have the anti-cuirass, but here you have it. It is going to be a 4v1 situation. He does get the immortality out of TNZ, but it is going to be Sunshine that picks up the killing spree. 2 members. And I think it's a big factor that they took out Night Level here, which seems to pose a problem, especially for Rosa and Sunshine.
Like that for Georgia, they're just having an issue with a lack of tankiness overall, just in general. If they can't really send anyone to check in the front, because even Night Level gets immediately deleted. And the same thing can be said for Davida. But Davida needs to be around to really help Henny's and Geo if they really want to make sure that the Fanny can't just immediately delete. But look at that, TNZ, man, not feeling any pressure whatsoever as the Lord marches down the bottom lane. This might be the beginning of the end.
Oh man, that's what they say. There goes the Vita. There goes the setup. It's going to be Alien taken in. But look at the portal, the shortcut! That's going to get an Apex 47 right into the base here of Georgia. But it's still not going to be enough because everybody is still up here for their side. They're going to do their very best to just take out at least the inhibitors here. But that's the signal. That's the signal. That's going to be Night Level taken down. Tianzi to the rescue. And now the rest of the team is at a confusion of what to do next. That's going to be the Winter Trench play. Goes out a player. Another Winter Trench play too for Alien. But it is going to be a little bit overzealous there. Nice replay if ever that does happen. But wait, what? Look at that damage coming out from Rosa and Sunshine. And speaking of that, the Dawning Light takes out the members here at Georgia once again. 2 for the price of 2. They did get that shutdown on Tianzi, which is actually going to help them with the gold swing. But right now, looking at this, it's 46k for Georgia and 53 for Turkey. So I would say a gold swing a little bit, but not entirely, right? Because it's only one member that you took out. You still have to worry about Rosa and Sunshine here that are still unstoppable at this point.
More importantly than that, they lost 2 base turrets as well in the side that's far away from the Lord. So Turkey gained a huge advantage for that next Lord take as well. Look at Geo though, just trying his best to try and make plays happen. And this is how confident Turkey is at this point. Sunshine, without escort, right? Without Apex right next to him, just walks up, takes some spells, takes some damage coming in from Geo. But look at this, it's only 2 members in the jungle. Could be a mistake coming in from Georgia, man. They can get cut off.
Yeah, I think they're also scouting the area, but right now it's going to be really difficult for Kenzie. He's just going to do the cleanup work here, but now not Light Level is going to try to get down Sunshine, and he will pick up the shutdown. And now it's a double kill for the marksman. Alien as well, going to be able to sustain, but not for long as they take down 3. What was that? You just mentioned they might be in trouble in the jungle here. They might actually go for a split push here. They can go for the Lord, but it is going to be Tianzi. Will he actually make it? He can actually execute Night Lavelle here, but it's gonna be way too risky. He can go for the Lord here. He has the buff, but without the three members here of Turkey, it's going to be really difficult. He has to pull a miracle play here because he's getting zoned out so hard here. As I think Georgia is going
Oh,
to be able to take that Lord and the takedown as well on Alien. The turnaround here, Arashi. What was going on? It's just that one team fight in the jungle where we thought it could have been Georgia's end.
it's the fact that the gold swing was so massive from the shutdowns, and Turkey was still playing as if Georgia was just that far behind in gold. So they walk up, they get roped into a fight where TNZ wasn't the main initiator, wasn't the main guy who went for the assassination before the fight even begun. And as such, we talked again already since the beginning about the potential for Georgia if they can eventually force Turkey to fight 5v5. Now with the Lord, oh, actually, look at the Fanny though on the top side. But with the Lord, man, Georgia can really force Turkey to group as five and force them to a front to back. This is a terrible situation for Turkey to be in.
Yep, the Blazing Duet is a little bit too much to handle here. And right now, look at the burst! Davina's gonna go for the setup! And now Gio as well, gonna take down Rosa. It is a massive outplay here with the Lord on their side. Georgia goes in for a massive upset here in our game number one. They go for the wipeout, lock in the base, and take in game number one.
What a very impressive performance, man. I mean, Turkey did amazing as well. But in the Land of Dawn, it only takes 1 second, man. One moment in the Land of Dawn, and before you know it, that game that was so dominant, that game that was Turkey's to win, got stolen from them by Georgia. Why it's so dangerous to have, an assassin that's vulnerable, but more importantly, that's so dangerous to have one guy hogging all the kills for the team. Like we were talking about earlier, the moment that a Tenzi gets taken out, the fighting prowess of Turkey gets nerfed by a significant amount. And the same can't be said for Georgia, because Georgia has a more even distribution of resources. And they did a great job persevering. And once the Lord got taken by them, I feel like that was just the moment, man. That's what will allow them to really ignore the split push attempts because of the empowered waves. That is what's going to allow them to just force the group to 5v5 in that situation. The fact that Turkey lost so many members right before the Lord spawned, man, I think that was really fatal.
Yeah, I mean, all across the map, right? There were trade-offs here and there, especially in the early game. I like the resiliency here of Georgia. There was a lot of winning moments for them. And as for Turkey, you see the early to mid game power spike, they were just there. But then again, this is what gets really frustrating about the game, right? Like once you reach that late game and it's just like one team fight or one wipeout that can actually change the tides of the game. And that's actually what really happened here. Like the side of Turkey was getting in all of these kills, right? They did get in all of these towers, but right after that last enhanced Lord, I think that was too much to take. I think there was 4 members down, right? And right after that, they just couldn't bounce back from that situation. Georgia just went in for the straight push, and it was just game over from there.
It's a massive, significant comeback because even here, when they were tanking the turret for so long, when they took the full brunt of the AoE, it still didn't matter because they were that far ahead in gold. But after a couple of fights here, you can see that there was just so much chaos for Georgia themselves. The Vita again and again was kind of baited to proc that Minion's Fury so early on, and Turkey did a great job baiting it out. But again, that's only when things were happening on their terms. If it's Georgia that's being aggressive, it's a whole different story. And that backline, again, with the Yuzong, it's always so difficult. I think Rosa in particular really felt the pressure. It seems like they have an agreement on who is supposed to really die for who. This is that moment here where they're all already caught up in gold. And you can see the Tenzi, the 15-2 assassin, came in so late. And at that point, he can't just go in 1v5. Fanny doesn't operate like that. And that is where I think everything really fell apart. If you want to go even further back, the fight in the base where they gave up a couple of shutdowns without really a need to do so, I think really started off the whole chain of sequence of events that allows Georgia to just get the amazing upset here in game number one.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, we were talking about this earlier, and, a little voice in my head actually said that, it might actually be a possibility that Georgia can take this. And they did. they took that game number one. But for now, it is far from over because we still have one more game, and that is the deciding matchup if Georgia will book that ticket to WEC 24 this year. But for now, we're going to take a quick break first before we proceed with the next match. Don't you guys go away. This is IESF European Regional Qualifiers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the IESF Europe Regional Qualifier, where we are trying to find out who is going to be the final representative from Europe to go to WEC. And it's a match between Turkey and, blacking out here, Georgia, who just got the win in game number one in an insane comeback fashion, showing determination, showing patience, and everything across the line. Now Turkey is on the back foot. We're looking forward to another exciting game. Kim, what do you think?
It's match point for Georgia. Just one more game away to Riyadh this year. So that is something that Turkey has to put in their minds when they get into or when they head into this next game, right? Like that's one more game. All they need to do is possibly get this next game, right? There's just no way out. Like they have to get this next game, or it's gonna be Georgia who's gonna go to WEC this year. I'm at a loss for words, honestly. Like Turkey was leading, man. They were leading for the first few
They were
minutes of the
beyond
game.
leading.
First few minutes and even up until mid game, right? Like going into the late game, it's just one clash that sealed their fate for that game. It was that, and you were calling it. You're like, oh, I think Georgia's in trouble here, and I'm like, wait, hold on. I think they do have a plan here, and they eventually get in like a win on that last team fight, gets that award, and eventually that was the one that got them in that first game.
I think it's the discipline, right? The fact that they were just so hyped to try and maybe make it to WEC. They were just seeing the potential, seeing that they are so far ahead that one guy can essentially 1v3. Who's to blame, right? If you were in that position, if you were in a ranked game and you feel like, man, I can 1v3 all day, every day, why would you play careful, right? But in the professional level, it's a whole different case, man. The patience and determination from these teams are next level. So if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So you gotta be careful to make sure you stifle down, you smolder out all the flames, all the embers, unless you want to have a raging fire that you're not prepared to try and take on. Now we're gonna go straight into the drafting phase for game number two, and I think both teams are eager to just go straight into it, man. It was a game that either team really could have won, so I feel like they want to just get back into it. And for Turkey, prove that they're better, that they're gonna reverse sweep. For Georgia, make history.
Yeah. I think for Georgia, it's still going to be the same, right? The respect bans for Rosa, for Tianzi here. They're taking away the Ling and the Valentina, which are power picks from their side. And as for Turkey, it is still going to be the Harit and Faramis team fight, eccentric types of composition. And looking at Georgia here, it might be a Zaspan, knowing that Turkey could go for more of those power picks first, or the Zushin. That was a game changer. I think they're forcing out Georgia to ban out the Zushin at this point. They can start out with that.
They can go with that, but that means that the Roger will be left open. So for Georgia, it's pick and choose your poison, man. What do you want? What do you think you can kind of handle better? Is it the mid lane, right? Is it gonna be like Rosa making the plays, or are you gonna be concerned about Tianzi popping off once more, snowballing out of control? Depending on what they really perceive as the main problem in the first game, they can adjust their bans, but it is the Tushin, as you called it, Kim. In this qualifier, you've been very accurate with your predictions, man. Mr.
I
Kim
mean,
strikes again.
well, not to flex it, but yeah, I mean, the Zusin was a game changer for Georgia, especially in the early parts of the game, right? They were able to you kind of poke out the mid laner, but this means that the other options like the Roger you mentioned was open for Turkey to take in, and Georgia immediately answers it out with I was thinking like Terizla, right? But oh
Oh,
yes, I like that pick, and usually this comes out first, right? Like the Zas can really survive the team fights. They also got the night level on the Yuzong that really posed as a threat to especially those squishier heroes like Sunshine and Rosa for game number one.
think that Yutsong's presence is definitely underrated in securing the victory in game number one.
Wow.
If he wasn't always in the back line, literally deleting the back line again and again, things would have been very different, even though there is still damage coming in from the rest of the team for Georgia. But Turkey is doubling down, man. You're going to put this Roger in the gold lane. So there's a chance for Georgia technically to flex this Zask around as well. I think we've seen it once in the gold lane. That could be a solution if you're trying to go up against a lane bully like the Roger. And now with the fact that it's a Zask, the Fanny might struggle to really find an additional target right here. And it all depends on the last gold laner from Georgia. If they go for something like a Moskov, then the Fanny is really gonna have trouble.
Oh yeah, that could be a possible ban here for Turkey. I'm looking at this, like Turkey's still so bold to pick up the Fanny, right? Despite the fact that there's
Mhm.
crowd control here with the Minotaur and the Yuzong, and then you got the Zas, right? That is not somebody that you can execute immediately, unlike the Zushin earlier. So, for Turkey, it's a very bold move, especially pulling this card out once again in match points. So I think they're confident enough that they can make this work the second time around. Second time perhaps is the charm. But as for Georgia, they are taking away possible options here for Rosa, maybe perhaps for Sunshine. I think earlier in the game it was a savior that also was difficult to deal with, especially in the team fights with the global presence that it had. Or maybe perhaps like a Claude 2 would be a problem when it comes to the gold lane here. Again, it is going to be a Roger gold lane here for Turkey.
Ooh, it's gonna be an Edith as the final ban for Georgia. So kind of leads you to believe that they still want to go aggressive right here, right? Because from the looks of things, the Edith of course can help with the pickoff, but it can protect the back line too. And they might just be concerned about the damage output as well, right? If they have to deal with the Fanny, the Roger, and an Edith in the Primal Wrath form, just slapping out, dishing out damage. That's something they don't want to deal with for sure, especially if they are really gonna go with the same composition. There's a same front line, right? The Yuzong and the Minotaur, both relatively squishy. They're not very squishy, but compared to like a Terizla, it's no comparison.
The chip is also, oh no, the ship is banned away. It was like, oh, that is open, right? And for Georgia, they can start it off with either a Goldaner that can definitely sustain, can poke up against the Roger. I'm still thinking of a Claude, it's still open here. But Georgia instantly goes for somebody that kind of negates the team fight. So I would say it still has the protection from the Eternal Guard once the Fanny comes in. Last two picks here for Turkey. They need a gold laner, something for Sunshine. Oh, rather, Sunshine's already picked up the Roger, so it's Rosa
Right.
and Apex 47's hero. So something to counter out the Minotaur here. Will they go for setup plays as well, or will they still go for the savior here?
I think they have enough damage and they have enough setup technically, so maybe utility can work well here. Crowd control, I think, is something they really want to try and have. Because even with the penalty zone, we've seen that a one-dimensional approach with one big ultimate, a lot of teams have already learned how to deal with. And boom, they bring in the Guinevere. So that's going to
Oh
be a
wow.
spatial migration available to try and bait out some of these defensive spells first, and then afterwards, once the Eternal Guard is down, once the Minion Fury is down, the Fanny can come in, the Roger can come in, and with a Farsa to boot, man, they really like this style. Everyone diving in, and the mid laner just throwing down damage from far away like artillery.
Looking at Georgia's lineup, this is once again a Zas that they will play in the gold lane, right? That can poke up against a
Mhm.
Roger, that can go head to head with the Roger. And now Georgia needs to seal the deal here with their jungler. Are they going to go for, again, it seems like Asmodeus is more of a fighter jungler,
Oh,
and it is going to be the Leomord here. Instant delete as well, if you think about it, right? Like once it snowballs as well. So it's a matter of that when it comes to the jungle. But I'm looking at the roamers here. Two very different types of roamers. I would say the Guinevere is slightly better than the Kaja when it comes to CC, right? It has a whole lot more heroes when they're grouped up together. You can kind of get in that spatial migration combination. But as for the Kaja, it's only one. But here you're talking about who's gonna do the setup first, and I'm kind of worried too because there's a lot of survivability here for the lineup here of Georgia. You got a Zas, you got a Yuzong that is not somebody that you can instantly take down.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a bit more risky, I guess. But I think Turkey is diversifying, right? In the previous game, it's all about the assassins coming in, and that's about it. Now there's a penalty zone. Now there's a spatial migration, and that's great engage. But the Guinevere also provides a lot of distractions, right? With leaving behind a clone, you can still lock people up with the knockup, right? With the Violet Requiem as well. So I think for Georgia though, they do have the advantage of a properly balanced damage output. Because initially, with the gold lane being a Zask, it's very magic damage reliant, and that means that Turkey can itemize very easily. But they recognize that problem, and so they go for Asmodeus on the Leomord. So technically, when it comes to the damage sources, physical and magical both are available, and considering the fact that it's a fighter, right? A lot of members from the side of Georgia aren't really vulnerable to being jumped on, except for Gio. So let's see how that plays out.
Yeah, here too, there's a lot of rotation over on the XP lane. They want to make sure to win in that turtle fight later on, right? Like you see Night Level having a little bit more of an advantage here as Georgia will be able to rotate freely there. Whereas the top side might be a little bit of a sticky situation there for Hennies, right? If he gets caught in between Apex 47 setup, but as of the moment, right, it's still no level 4 power spikes, it's just pokes coming out from both sides. So Alien is just getting a lot of the poke damage coming through from Night Level. So he's keeping him contained, actually forcing him to back away, back to the base.
Very, very early on, and shows again the potential of the Yuzong. Because Alien is not a passive player, man. He wants to be aggressive, he wants to be dominant. But against the Yuzong, the Terizla, it's just a slight bit outmatched. And the same thing can be said for the rest of the lanes, by the way. Look at how fast this combo, the Vexana Minotaur, is clearing. And now they're
Yep.
prepping for a dive, and Turkey are in the area, but might be a bit too late. Seems like they're going to be just corralling around the turtle. It's going to be the waiting game yet again.
Yep. I think they were setting up. I think Alien knew, right? That's why Rosa rotated towards this way, making sure that she also gets the level 4 once the turtle is up, right? Like both junglers are securing in the purple buff. And I think both mid laner and XP laner know that very well, that level 4 is important. So actually, this is very good understanding of the game for MLBB, right? But both teams, XP laner, mid laner, gotten that level 4. And even Apex 47 and Davida has gotten it right now. So it's a matter
Whoa.
of who's going to set things up first. Yenzi, though, a little bit too early for the face check and gets drawn in. First blood drawn by the side of Georgia, but it's going to be Rosa retaliating as well. 2 for the price of 1. Georgia getting in those kills. It's only Davida that was taken down. They go straight for the turtle.
Credit to Gio for the way that played out, man. He landed, even though Tianzi came out of nowhere, right? Like Spider-Man, literally just swinging through. You saw that Gio was able to land the Terrify and the Eternal Guard. On top of that, the Vita immediately followed up on it. So they have recognized now that, especially in the first turtle fight, that Fanny is going to be a big problem. They want to make sure that they keep it in the back of their minds. And it shows, right? He got immediately shut down there, completely card control locked, until he gets taken out. So now he's gonna be a bit more reluctant if he's gonna just drive in, jump in into the mix with a Minotaur and the Vexana in play.
We see a lot of these team fights being initiated this time by Georgia. There are times that they do hesitate, but they're just giving Turkey really a very difficult time. You see the poke coming out from Geo, even in game number 1, made it really difficult for Apex 47 and Rosa, forcing them to go back into the base, right? So that's a little bit more time taken out from their side. 10k for both sides. It's Georgia still leading, obviously, with the 2 kills that they've gotten in this game. But I think Turkey has to be a little bit more decisive when they go in for these team fights, and it has to be initiated here by either Alien or Apex 47. But how can that happen? Because Alien has been contained here on the bottom side.
I think it's a great play for Georgia here to just roam around, and they're not really getting a lot of ganks off, but they're really denying Tianzi from getting an easy fight in. But look at that, he gets caught by a knockup, but it won't be enough. Still able to cable out of there. But you're seeing Davida, knowing that now it's only Gio that he needs to protect instead of everyone else. Now he just is content sticking together with the mid lane and just roaming as a duo that cannot fall to the Fanny.
Yeah, the Apex 47 here's choice is a Guinevere. So there has to be that surprise factor, right? If used well, it can actually be really a menace. And
Ooh.
now Alien, Night Level, this was a problem for them. And finally, they take him out right before the turtle is up. The Feathered Airstrike has been used up, though. So that is one resource out for zoning away the members here of Georgia from the turtle. Apex 47 going to be starting that up, though. I think Tianzi is going to join in the party. He's going to get Davida. Geo going to get the cutthroat through. And finally, Turkey claps back here. Goes straight for the turtle, as well as the Violet Migration and Spatial Requiem combination. But here comes the flicker in from the Vita. Minoan's Fury in. Alien gonna soak up the damage. And now the Black Dragon form as well. The Vita gets taken down as the Black Dragon form is still up. Henny's is here to join the party as well. Alien gonna be forced to sustain this one. He is deep into enemy space, but he is a Terizla after all. He can sustain for a while, but with Rosa's help, I think he should be able to take it, but a little bit too late there though. It's gonna be 2 for the price of 1. It is still going to be, I would say, that's a win for the side of Georgia.
It was impressive from Henny's to be able to pick up a kill right there. Night
Wow.
Level though goes for the outplay.
Oh man, that is one heck of a damage. Rosa's still alive with the shields coming through here as well. So Night Level has been such a menace, and now it might be Apex 47. Yep, another outplay after outplay here. They should be able to take this turret down bottom side. That's 2 members. Whereas Geo starting up the turtle here as well. 5 kills, relatively low, but Georgia is just really stepping it up here in this game and making sure that they get that ticket to WEC this year. But not if Turkey can say anything about it.
And look at Night Level, bro. He is a problem. 1v1, 1v2, getting low, full HP, doesn't matter. He just keeps going in, finding the outplays, and somehow, some way, with the team, it's just like the team understands how he plays, and so they're always able to capitalize with the space, with the time that he's able to buy. Georgia lost a couple of members right before the turtle spawn, and yet, because of the interventions, Turkey were unable to secure it. But look at Henny's now. The victim of a dive attempt, most likely.
But there goes the Dominator's descent. It is going to be outplay. Henny's just taking Rosa down, deleting her in an instant. And with the ultimate up, they're just not going to commit for more. And this is what I was talking about, right? The Zas that can really protect itself in the lane, which is why it's so flexible right now. This is huge, though, for Turkey. They did take down the mid tower here for the side of Georgia. So that's going to make it easier for them to contest the Lord, the first Lord here of this game. But now it's going to be a Winter Crown play here by Henny's. He's going to be able to survive. He still has his Nightmaric response to save the day. And with the Vita here, he should be able to be back up alive once again. But here comes Georgia. They might actually force out the team fight here. There goes the Eternal Guard. Apex 47 forced to flicker out. Dash away at that. And that's going to be the entire cavalry of Georgia here on this top side. Gonna try to go in for the turret, and with the Zaz, it's gonna be way easier to push down this turret, and down it goes. Georgia, they've taken in 2 turtles and 2 turrets here. The Sky Piercer comes through here for Tianzi, but we haven't seen him coming through in the team fights here. It's all because of Davida and Night Level, right? They're denying the intros or the entrances coming through here for Tianzi.
And the beat has finished the classical bases as well. So if Henny was struggling to secure kills earlier, he's gonna struggle as well now. But look at the top side. Is that an outreach attempt at Henny's? Not always an absolute menace. And even on top, Henny's not getting taken out. This is tilting stuff for Turkey, man. They're getting so close, but yet so far. With the Lord up, they have a man advantage now, Georgia.
Again, that is what they're doing, right? They always do these huge pickoffs between the teams, right? And here goes the Minoan's Fury again onto the members here of the side of Georgia. And that's going to be Alien taking down the Vita. Alien as well is here. Tenzi going to try to go for Henny's. He's still alive here with half HP. They're going to back away for now. It is a roamer for a roamer. A little bit too close for comfort here because they're just looking to take in this Lord. But, Georgia's not going to make it easy for the side of Turkey to be just able to take this freely for their side.
Man, Night Level is on a mission, man. He wants vengeance. He remembers what Tenzi did to him in game 1, and he is just always rushing forward aggressively. Taking a look at the items here, Geo went for the Demon Boots, the Mana Boots, immediately the Glowing Wand and the Blood Feather, so the Blood Wing. So he has a lot more survivability technically, and it's a great way to really increase your power spike instead of going for Enchanted Talisman. Although technically, with so many mobile heroes with potential from Turkey, the Enchanted Talisman would not be a bad pickup either. For now, though, I think Georgia definitely has a bit of an edge when it comes to damage output. Look at the macro game, right? That's where Turkey does have the advantage. They have mobility due to TNZ, and they're trying to make the best out of it.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing their very best right now, right? Georgia has the upper hand, though, on this Lord fight. Look at their positioning. They got the pick of the litter here when it comes to the positioning into the turtle, but not if Alien has anything to say about it. There's the spatial migration onto the members here of Turkey, but it's still going to be Georgia coming out on top as Tenzi will be able to steal away the Lord. A double for Night Level as well as Tienzi, who finally picks up that triple. A little bit too messy there, but that's going to be Turkey picking up the W, picking up the Lord as well.
Despite all of the outplayed tools, Turkey found a way somehow to steal that Lord away and technically still come out pretty well in the trades of the members. With the Lord coming back up, there's more macro pressure available for Turkey. Like a Night Level though taking some damage. Feather Airstrike.
Yep, there's a shutdown. Tienzi just picks it up right after the feathered airstrike. You got the Lord for the side of Turkey care of Tienzi, so this should be able to create a great amount of pressure here up against Georgia. So they have to be a little bit extra careful here right now because they do have the enhanced minions coming in. The setup plays can be made as well by Alien and Apex 47. You've seen how crazy it was earlier, right? 2 people who can dive right in and take down the backlines. But fortunately enough, there's a Purify from both of the damage dealers here, so they have that kind of advantage. Eternal Guard has been laid out here. It's going to be the Death game. Phantom Steed is up, and there goes the setup. Minotaur's Fury from Davida, but there's no follow-up just yet. Apex 47, he's going to try to go in. Night Level, in it for a chase. He's going for Rosa. He's going to go for the Petrify. He's going to take down Rosa. Apex 47 is the next one on the chopping board. He gets a double, but Tienzi will finally take him down. Alien as well from the backside. It's going to be a 3 for the price of 1. I would still say that Georgia definitely won that team fight.
And again, it's just Night Level going in, securing the mid lane and also the gold lane. Not the gold lane, but even the EXP lane and the roam in one fell swoop. Georgia now trying to hit back, but at this point, Tienzi has caught up. He has a lot of damage still, and you can see that Davida is struggling to try and predict his movements. Tienzi has adjusted, and he's never coming in straightforward any longer. He keeps going with these weird angles, weird flanks to bait out the initial knockup, and maybe even bait out the minion's fury before committing to a kill. They have to try and shake it up, change it up a bit.
Tienzi. Oh wow, that was a whole lot of ultimates thrown out to Tienzi just to take him out. And without the purple buff, that should be some resources taken out of Georgia. It's still Turkey that has the upper hand here, though. They've taken in a whole lot more turrets than what Georgia could have. But it has been Georgia who's winning in the team fights, which is why when you see the gold lead here, Arashi, it's actually just a 3K lead by Turkey.
3K lead, but it can still extend quite far. For now, Georgia is just playing it safe. Again, with no turrets, they have less safe ground, less areas of safety to back away to. And there's still enough damage from Turkey to just completely one-shot someone, because now it's not just Tienzi. There's damage coming in from Rosa as well. And even if they both fail to seal the deal, Sunshine can come in with the built-in Roger Execute and get massive value. But look at the positioning. Turkey immediately pushes the far side of the map. You can see Sunshine solo, unbothered, and they're forcing Night Level to just go and defend here.
Yeah, I think they have to take that problem out, right? Like, Night Level has been such a menace in the team fights, and that's their plan all along, to take down Night Level and take down that inhibitor turret. But here's the chase. Not so sure. He's got a horse, though, up against the wolf. Yeah, they're not going to go for it, right? A little bit too much of a commitment there, knowing that there's going to be the Lord here for both sides to pick up. Earlier, it was Turkey. It was stolen away, actually, by TNZ with the Retribution take. I think it's still Georgia a little bit too far in. I'm not so sure. They might not contest anymore for this Lord. Just give it straight to Turkey, try and defend their base, but they already got their inhibitors down, so the Lord should be marching over the top side, whereas Turkey, they're looking to take in at least all of the inhibitor turrets here that's left for Georgia.
Man, Georgia now on the back foot. They've pulled off a comeback in game number 1. Can they do so again? In a similar situation right here, they lost 1 base turret, but they're still hanging on to 2. And if Turkey wants to go for a decisive finish, they face the same problem. They don't really have a lot of long-range heroes except for the Farsa, except for Rosa, right? And the difference right now, though, is the fact that their gold laner actually has to purify. So it's no longer as clear-cut for Georgia if they really want to try and go to the back line. But in the end, I do feel like it's going to be Knight Lavelle once again that has to make the play happen. And look at the wave management here, all crashing at the same time. At least 1 beast turret will fall for sure.
Yeah, that's going to be the mid turret down. Bottom side might go down as well, but there's a feathered airstrike. Look at the burst damage. Tienzi as well is forced to back away from that one. They do have this Lord here for the side of Turkey, so for Georgia, they got to melt this away, but they have so much wave clear here with the Zask and even the Vexana, so it's not going to be easy to just dive right in. But speaking of that, it's going to be Apex 47 with the setup. Night Level goes down. Kira Sunshine, Alien as well, Asmodeus gonna be zoning everybody away, but the feathered airstrike again from Rosa from the backside. Winter Crown, but it's not enough. Hennies will go down. Tienzi picks up a double, and I think it is going to be Turkey retaliating in this game. They got the minion waves in, they get the wipeout, they got their Winter Crowns up, and they get in a match point here for both sides. We finally have a game number 3.
The final game of the day, we're having a full best of 3 series. Man, that was intense though. It all came down to the specific few moments in that game. It really could have gone either way. It's unfortunate for Georgia that they can't really secure the full-on proper clean sweep, but Turkey once again showing their quality. It wasn't an easy game at all because Tienzi was getting stonewalled a bit more often, and you can also see that Knight Lavelle again and again was able to make those plays, and despite all that, they kept their heads in the game. They had their eyes on the prize, which is the neutral objective right here, and even then they were still able to get a very valuable play, getting the neutral objective but also winning in the fight. And I think that is just a big factor here in how they're able to win, because in game number 1 it's also the neutral objectives that eventually allowed for Georgia to turn the things around.
Yeah, this was the last one. The feathered airstrike was just way too good. The positioning here of Rosa. There was the Winter Crown play there by Hennies, but with the feathered airstrike, the area of effect was just way too much. It was only Geo left. They actually managed to take him down to get that wipeout, and that's just a statement by Turkey, right? We get in a match point finally for the next game. And wow, Arashi, I mean, I thought I would see like clean sweeps here, but I think somebody just gave Turkey a run for their money, and now we're gonna have to finally find out who's gonna take that last ticket to WEC 24 as we head on to our next match later on. We're gonna have game number 3 here between Turkey and Georgia, but for now, this is going to be Burger Kim and Arashi taking a quick break first. Don't you guys go away. We're gonna be back with more MLBB action here at IESF.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the IESF Europe Regional Qualifier 2024, and it has come to this. It's the final game of the semifinals, and we finally have a best of 3 after a very intense game. Now, some of you might remember, usually the pattern is after a close game, it's either very, very slow, very, very long, or destruction. And I feel like both these teams are not going to be willing to back down. So welcome back to the final game. Stay tuned. I mean, I bet you guys are excited as I am. I mean, what about you, Kim?
I can totally feel that you're excited. Like you can feel the jitters coming out from Arashi there. But looking at the teams here, I don't know what to say. Like I didn't expect I did kind of call it out earlier. I said there's gonna be a game number 3, and here you have it. We're gonna finally have that match point. Yeah, throw away game number 1, throw in game number 2. It is gonna boil down to this last match. Who's gonna take that ticket to WEC this year? Is it gonna be Georgia or Turkey? I think a lot of people are pleasantly surprised as well in the comment section, saying that it's a surprise that Georgia took down Turkey in game number 1. Yep, If you guys aren't updated, yep, that is actually what happened in game number one. And we're down to our last game here. It's going to be the deciding match between Turkey and Georgia here. Again, it's going to be history made for Georgia if they do make it to IESF, or rather WEC 24 this year. And as for Turkey, it's
Mm-hmm.
about maintaining their hold onto the World Championship stage. Looking at Georgia here, it's still not going to be any different here for both sides. I'm actually just curious if Georgia will take out the Fanny this time, maybe force out TNZ. Oh, there you go. See, Mystic Kim, I'm calling out everything today. It is the Fanny respected this time finally. It lost Turkey a game, won them a game as well. So this time in a matchup as important as this, they're just gonna take it out and force TNZ to pick something else for this round.
Well, other options are still available though, and you have to remember that in game number one, we can say that it lost them the game, but it still went like 15-1 at some point, 15-0 actually. So it's definitely still a very menacing option, but we are back into the drafting phase for the final game, game three, thanks to Burger Kim. Let's see how this plays out though, right? Because the Rogers come through now for Turkey without the Fanny available. Are they gonna go for the same things? They have adjusted themselves, banning away the Utah, right? With Knight Lavelle just being so much more annoying. With the Valentina banned, by the way, but the farm is left open. Turkey just snatches it out.
Okay, this is where you lay all your cards down, right? Georgia has gotten themselves a comfort and a power pick, something that the teams are always prioritizing. But now Turkey, wow, it's sustained. And CC here with the Terizla of Alien. That is something that he's also very comfortable in using. Georgia here can either the Zeusins already out of the picture, so will they go for a Zask here? But yeah, maybe steal that away because it seems like that was yeah, their pickup earlier, and it managed to survive some of these team fights. Or maybe go for like the Harriet, which always oftentimes seem to be on the ban list here.
Especially against a Faramis, I think mobility is something you really want, right? Once another realm comes up, boom, get out. Like you have to run away from that engagement as much as possible. So the habit makes sense, but Lilia makes even more sense. Everyone clumping together is going to be a very soft, easy, juicy target for the Angry Glooms. And they're really doubling down on this Minotaur pick, man.
Oh wow.
Especially with the threat of an assassin from Turkey. I'm really thinking that maybe the Minotaur might not show up again. They might want something that with a bit more spammability, like the Ruby, let's say. But they really like it, so they're going to double down on this Minotaur. I did say during the break that I really feel like if they want to go with a Minotaur, they might want to get something else, like another tool, right? Usually we see like the penalty zone being used or the implosion being used to try and supplement each other, kind of. So something like that, because we saw in the final fight in game number two, it was actually very, very close. But the members from Turkey kind of realized that, okay, you know what? There's only one real big source of crowd control from the side of Georgia. So they all just prep the Purify, and they use the Purify aggressively to just negate the Minion's Fury. If they don't want the same thing to happen in this game, Georgia needs to get something else to supplement the Minion Fury.
Yeah, I think there's just answers after answers here for Turkey, right? If the penalty zone doesn't land, you still got the wild charge, and at the same time you got the Faramis who kind of sustain everybody in the team fight, which means that both sides haven't revealed their junglers just yet. I'm thinking of the Hayabusa, something along those lines for the side of Turkey. But Georgia's lineup is also so flexible. This is a Roger that can be in the jungle as well. You've seen that, and Turkey will be taking out all of the burst options actually for Night Level. A Lapu Lapu was something that he also picked up in the previous game. So somebody that has the playmaking capabilities and somebody that can really zone the back lines and be a nuisance. I just called the Hayabusa, and right after that, Georgia just bans it away.
I mean, what's new, Kim? You called it out, it happens. For Turkey, though, they also go with the X-Borg right here. So even if Georgia wants to go for, I think they're just making sure that Knight Lavelle doesn't really have a very easy matchup. The X-Borg is a lane bully, so is the Paquito. So generally, if they're trying to get lane dominance, I feel like the CC, the not crowd control, the CC hero, does make an appearance right here if they want to try and go winning in the 1v1. But considering how the compositions are coming through, I don't know if that's a very valid option. Turkey, though, will go for the Harith. So they have all these survivability tools, all these big engage tools, but they have a very burst style gold laner. So that is something that they might want to try and supplement with the
Oh,
next pick as the
wow.
Mincitar shows up.
Wow, the hard counter to the Harriet?
Huh?
That's hard. That is hard. Okay, I was thinking of like Arlot, right? Like that's what people would usually go for. But I've actually had the chance to test this out, and the King's Calling can be a nuisance to the Harriet, right? And now that seems to be the main power source that Turkey has. They're still saving up for what Tienzi will go for
Oh,
last. They pick up the Martis here for Asmodeus to amp up that early game. But Georgia just has answers as well to Turkey. So they're both just answering out to each other. Tienzi, what assassins are left to take here? I mean, you got the Mincetar here, so it wouldn't really be easy to go for, say, heroes like the Hellcurt. That kind of is like a one trick. So will Tienzi go for maybe a fighter jungler, the alpha, or still stick to the assassin here?
well, we saw the Alpha banned several times before, but it's gonna be a Granger. So they understand the
Wow.
lack of physical damage, so they go for the Granger. But against a Martis, against a Mincitar as well, it's gonna be a lot more
Wow.
risky here for the side of Turkey. They have these beefy frontliners, but in the back line, they just have to make sure that the Harith and the Granger can kind of dish damage out without being deterred, without being zoned out, and that's why they put so much priority in shutting down Lavelle, right? Because the Yuzong and the Paquito would be a nightmare if they're going with this strategy. So that's a bold move. In a
Yep.
proper 5v5 though, I feel like with purifies now it's kind of the opposite. Now Georgia, if they have a couple of purifies, they can just stand their ground and just completely out damage right through the Nether Realm. So that's something that
Wow.
Turkey needs to try and solve.
I think the last time I've seen a Granger in the jungle was, well, what, seasons ago in MPL Philippines. Hades has used this. Wise has used this in the jungle, but in the current meta, Arashi, what's this gonna look like? Yeah, it is a Granger, right? I get the burst, right? This is a hero that can also snowball and overlook, but going up against a heavy
Hmm?
CC kind of lineup here, you got the Martis, you got the Minstar, and then you got the Vita here with the Minotaur. So the positioning has to be really important here for Sunshine and TNZ, because Rosa is a little bit more of the support here right now, like, okay, kind of sustaining everybody in the team fight. So they're gonna have to rely heavily on Sunshine and TNZ here.
And that's a focusing mark Grok, by the way. So it's very aggressive. And if it's comboed with a Rhapsody or a Ghostbusters, it's gonna be a lot of damage. On the other side, though, you do see that it's gonna be Night Level on the Martis, though. EXP lane Martis. We haven't seen it in a long, long time. It's gonna be the gold lane Mincitar. I've seen it personally. I forgot who brought it out, but in theory, it should counter the Harith, right? To jump
Yeah.
on him, pull him in, and deny all the dashes from the Zaman Force. But in the game, I witnessed that the Mincitar was not able to do so. So we'll have to see for Georgia. Are they going to bank on the level 4, or are they going to get punished early on?
Oh, yep. Flicker out from Geo. Does not have the black shoes just yet. Wow. Ooh, almost getting taken down there by Turkey. And going back to the Mincitar here, this is a Mincitar. I've seen a Mincitar in the gold lane, specifically from Benny Cutie. It wasn't really. It was
Hmm.
something to counter out the overall composition, but this is definitely, even back in M2, right? The Burmese schools pulled this off up against Bren Esports when they pulled out the Harriet, and it's honestly gonna contain. I would say contain Sunshine here for a bit in the lane, but now the bigger picture has to be checked here. Turtle has to be taken in first here by both sides. No first blood, no casualties just yet for now. Everybody's being a little bit extra careful. No level 4 yet from Rosa, so we can expect to see some delays, extended team fights. The Vita has that level 4 right now, Alien. He's in the middle of everything. He's soaking up the damage though, but where is everybody? He misses the penalty zone. But it is going to be Georgia that has a much better footing on this turtle. It's going to be Asmodeus taking it
Oh,
in. And Turkey, they're at a loss right now. And Rosa and Alien forced to back away because Kenzie is all the way up top. I think they're just going to trade the turtle for the gold here.
but look at the level difference though. TNZ with the superior clear from the Granger, level 6 already compared to Asmodeus, who's still on level, now caught up to level 6. But look at his play though. First blood picked up by Turkey, stampeding down, taking out Gio, locking him down before he can even use the black shoes.
Yeah, it gets bursted down. Then you got in the slows coming out from the Faramis as well as the Grok here. And you mentioned it's focusing Mark Rock, so it's going to be a little bit more lethal when it comes to the team fights. I would say that's a big W though for Turkey so far. Look at the gold platings that they've taken in here on the top side, already more than half for Sunshine. So this is a lot of gold. If I'm not mistaken, Tenzi was there as well. So I think for Georgia, they have to take note of this one, right? Like they're already putting up their resources up top. You see Asmodeus as well, picking up that kill onto Sunshine, knowing that he has the most gold. And right now, they're going to try to do exactly the same by taking in the gold plating on the top side. Bottom side as well, you got a 1v1 duel. Alien,
Ooh.
Asmodeus, both of them are going to be able to sustain. Are they going to go for it, though? Night Lavelle, oh, he recalls back in time. He recalls back in time.
On the last second though, that was close, but Alien does not care. In the mid lane though, you're seeing again the impact of this Grok. It's not just the wild charge potential, it's not just the barriers, but even the wave clear. Never mind, out of nowhere, there comes TNZ.
Yep, just bursting down Night Lavelle there. He was clearing out the lane. Actually, he's going to try to go back and get the jungle creeps. But now Turkey has been rotating. Actually, if you look at TNZ, right, he has been rotating so well. But right now he's in trouble, though. Asmodeus is going to be able to try and get him. He's at low HP, but right now there is the wild charge coming through, saving the life there of TNZ. But the rest of the cavalry of Turkey, they're going to be able to punish Asmodeus there again. Another mind gate type of play, and Turkey just keeps it coming every single time. They thought they were going to get TNT, but there was still the Netherrealm available.
That's just another realm being such a pesky tool. Even though Georgia, again, does have crowd control tools, damage tools to try and do something about it, right now Henny's isn't really grouping together, so the King's Calling is not a factor just yet. It's the same problem here. It's only the Vita that has to try and negate all of these problems at the same time, as Asmodeus wants to come in for a steal right here, a level below though.
It's going to be TNZ though, clicking in that Retribution in time. They're going to trade it off for the turret down bottom side. Relatively low kill score here. Nobody's going to go in for the full engage, not unless, it's either, like, looking at the lineup here, it's more or less going to be Georgia that kind of has the say in it. And for the side of Turkey, they can just counter-initiate with the Netherrealm here of Rosa. You can just pop it in, right? Like, once Georgia goes in for the team fight.
They can go with the Netherrealm, they can go in with the Wild Charge, the penalty zone as well. So it's up to them actually how they want to play this out. Even when it comes to the lane management, right? Turkey still can just negate all the clear from Georgia because they have that Grok, right? The power of nature, a very OP lane pushing tool. And you're seeing that they have full control over the river. And while they're doing this, while they are trying to go in aggressively and scout out where the members of Georgia are, you can see TNZ is never just passively farming his own jungle. He's finding ways to try and get a gank off or take away resources from the jungle of Georgia instead.
And there's a lot of pokes here from Geo. Again, it is the same case, but Turkey, all of their damage dealers are safe and sound so far. So I think for Georgia, they can't overcommit here. Rhapsody comes through here, and there goes the wild charge. There's Apex 47, but there goes the Netherrealm as well as the King's Calling. They're able to sustain, but it's going to be Alien getting taken down by the Decimate. Tenzi as well forced to back away from that one. Asmodeus as well going to try to go in for the leg and pounce. It is going to be a 1-for-none trade-off. Georgia successfully picks off Alien there with, despite the fact that it was Apex 47 that initiated that wall charge.
It's a great play for Turkey to try and punish. They saw the black shoes being popped already, and they want to try and go for a very valuable punish. But unfortunately, the AoE is just too much, and Sunshine wasn't actually grouping with them. So they're able to get a turret on the top side, if I'm mistaken, during the course of those events. And that's still Georgia winning, but only because it was a 5v4.
And it's difficult here for Georgia. They do win the team fights, especially when they get those good ultimates up. Minoan's Fury, the King's Calling. But it has been Turkey, right? They have to watch out for TNZ, who has just picked up the Sky Piercer, by the way. So that is going to be a little bit more lethal when it comes to the team fights. But Knight Lovell, though, despite the fact that he does not have the Yuzong, he has been doing work, right? Down bottom side, down top side, and right now Alien gonna try to go in for the punish as Tianzi goes for the Rhapsody and executes him in the nick of time. Now bottom side is gonna face a lot of pressure here as well from the side of Turkey. They're gonna try to sandwich them in. Apex 47 does not have the flicker just yet, but Sunshine and the rest of the gang, they're already containing themselves here in this area. They can go for the tug in here for Henny's, but Apex 47 and Sunshine just says no here. They're gonna save this turret to their best potential. And they got the Vita and Henny's here.
Look at the mid lane though. There's gonna be a dive attempt on Asmodeus. Penalty zone being used as well. He gets deleted, man. Turkey with all the control, and they're not done. Look at Apex, just so deep behind, knowing that with the power of nature, he's never gonna be picked off. Wild Charge doesn't land though.
Yep, there's going to be the Zaman Force activated here by Sunshine. Henny's as well goes in for the King's Calling, but it's just way too much burst. He takes down Apex 47 though, so that's going to be a trade-off here. But that's going to be 2 for the price of none. On the mid side as well, Geo going to be forced to fight up against Alien here. This is looking really nice and slow, right? Like, you think that Turkey has gotten it all, but it seems like Georgia has been putting up a fight. If you look at the turrets that they've taken in 2 as well, and they've also taken in like at least a turtle here. So they didn't give everything to the side of Turkey. So now I think it's a matter of who's going to engage once again here. Davida, though, he's taking in a lot of the damage there. Look at the burst coming out from Rosa. And Tianzi as well, the Sky Piercer, just comes through in the nick of time. And without the Vita, this is going to be a much easier Lord for the side of Turkey. It's going to be numbers advantage for their side. Black Shoes has been popped, but there goes Alien with the penalty zone onto 4. And here comes side of Turkey. They're going to go for the finish. Asmodeus, super low there. Gets taken down by Alien. A double kill picked up. Only Knight Lovell as Davida as well spawns back in. That was a play we were looking for. It was so nice and slow. And right after that, Turkey goes straight for the Lord, while the rest of the team just goes on for an onslaught here and tries to take down all of the second tier turrets, and down it goes.
They're just exploiting the lack of strong frontline for Georgia. They've gotten away with it in game 1 and 2 technically, but now they're really feeling the problem. The Vita doesn't last even a single second if he gets caught out. Just burst it down immediately. And the same thing can be said for Henny's and Knight Lovell. So everyone has to back away again and again. And when you're always on the back foot, that's where Turkey can wait for a chance to go wild charge.
There goes the wild charge and the tug in there by Henny's. Alien's gonna get the damage here. He's gonna get in the decimate here from Knight Lovell, but Tianzi gonna be able to be unstoppable here at this point. It is gonna be a double kill picked up for him. Geo as well, a triple for Tianzi. Is he gonna try to go for a maniac? They're not gonna force it out anymore. A 3-4-3 trade for the side of Turkey as Tianzi goes all the way in right before the Lord. A little bit too overconfident here as Rosa forces out the Black Shoes. The Lord is marching in the base here of Georgia. They're forced to defend this one. 11 minutes in. It's only the inhibitors left here for the side of Georgia.
It's just massive aggression, but they kind of funneled into a tight space in the jungle, and that's where all these heroes on the side of Georgia really gain extra value, right? Geo especially right now, he's not really doing the best, but he's still not falling too far behind, and he has the glowing one and Ice Queen's one completed. So everyone is going to be extra slowed, and everyone's going to be regenerating even less health and less shields, and even the Netherrealm is going to be cut down in effectiveness. So if Turkey really wants to get a decisive finish, they can't really clump up around. Even though they do have the Netherrealm, they have to try and use it in a way to kind of throw off Georgia instead of using it to actually just stand there and trade blow for blow against Georgia. You got to make sure that they use their burst to full potential. And from the looks of it, they do have everything they require to really make this a very quick game.
You know what, Tianzi? I just checked his gold. It's like 10K for Tianzi. It doesn't even equalize to the gold laner. He's just been farming up 706. Not even shut down here by Georgia. 41K for their side. It just takes another setup here But there's the pressure coming out from both sides. Sunshine
Ooh.
forcing out the pokes here onto Asmodeus. But I think for Turkey, they just have to wait it out, right? They're on the driver's seat. But as for Georgia, they're waiting for Turkey to come in. And obviously, Turkey does not want to go for the full commit because in just a few seconds, the Luminous Lord is going to be up for the taking.
They want to make sure that they just get pickoffs and nothing else. They don't want to get roped onto a long, drawn-out fight where the Minotaur's healing can start to change things, where the Dash of the King's Calling even can start swinging things in favor of Georgia. So for now, they're waiting because in front of the base is actually the most dangerous time for Turkey right here. They want to make sure that they play for the objectives because they know, right, for now, without any lords, any neutral objectives. Oh, look at that damage, though.
Yep, Knight Lavelle gonna get punished there by the Rhapsody. And even Geo forced to use in the black shoes. And without the black shoes here, without the flicker, she gets bursted down there by Sunshine's Salmon Force. And I think they're not gonna go for the Lord here. There's the setup. There's the Nether Realm onto Henny's. 1 HP, a Slither of Health, Davida, Asmodeus. They're gonna get the damage there from TNZ. It's only Henny's left to defend. The immortalities have been bought. And I think Turkey, they are gonna take this series, a wipeout for their side, and finally close out this series.
Turkey asserting their dominance, maintaining their reputation, and destroying the hopes of Georgia. A lot of people would say they're not surprised, but man, that was a great fight put up by Georgia. Unfortunately, towards the end, you can see the experience come through, the adaptations in the banning phase, even in the performance right here. The fact that Knight Lavelle is no longer on a big, massive playmaker, you can see that Georgia was just struggling, and Davida alone is unable to restart things for his team. Maybe Henny could have really filled in those shoes, but all things considered, he was just shut down a bit too hard in the early game. And it seems like such a perfect game plan from Turkey. And even when they do what they're not supposed to do and funnel in and corral for that Lilia damage, they still somehow come out on top. And you got to give a shout out to Tienzi, because on the Assassins, he was crazy. Now on the Granger still, with this very aggressive item build, with the Sky Piercer even, he just goes in all out, man. And it's just such an insane amount of burst damage, considering the fact that he is absolutely snowballing. Showing again that TNZ is one of the core problems here that was just making it so difficult for Georgia to find any success.
Yep. High burst damage is the name of the game here for TNZ, and they showed them who is king here, as Turkey once again will be going to WEC here this year to Riyadh alongside Ukraine. So that's it, Arashi, for today. We finally got in a first match that's not a sweep, right? Like for the longest time, the 3 days that we've been doing this, it has always been the sweeps. But any thoughts so far, Arashi, as we kind of wind things down here on, what went on here today?
I think it's been a great few days, man, and it's great to see a fresh new take on Mobile Legends. Again, from Southeast Asia, it's getting pretty stale, man. The meta is just so established, and people stick so close to it. You don't really see a lot of crazy things, but over here in this region, in Europe, you're just seeing a lot more exciting stuff. And I'm pleasantly surprised to see that the regions that are supposed to just get completely dominated, right, by all these regions with prior experience, like Ukraine, like Turkey, at least they made it kind of competitive. It wasn't like they were being completely outmatched. So I think it's a show that the future looks quite promising for Mobile Legends as far as Europe is concerned. So I guess that's it for me.
Yeah, that's definitely a whole lot more matches as well for you guys in the next few days. But that's it for me as well. A lot of pleasant surprises. And mind you, all the games that we've seen up until, well, rather here in the semifinals have been really tight. We've been extending all the way past the 15-minute mark. But thank you so much for joining us here today for the past 3 days. But continue joining us here at the IESF European Qualifiers. We're going to have more MLBB batches in the next few days, so stay tuned. But for now, it's going to be me, Burger Kim, and Arashi bidding you guys goodbye.